when I was reading the Old Testament, and I saw what the Old Testament prophet said was one God, one God, one God. And then I thought, okay, I'll look only at the words of Jesus Christ in the New Testament. And then there's this story in the New Testament where a guy comes to Jesus. And he asks him, what is the most important thing in life? How can I gain paradise? And he said there are two things. He says, hear, O Israel, hear your God is one, treat your neighbor as you want to be treated yourself. So I thought, well, even Jesus Christ says here, O Israel, your God is one. So I thought, well, this whole Muslim concept of God sounds more logical, and it's the same concept that I find in the Old and the New Testament. And I know Christianity as a religion teaches something else. But it isn't the concept of God that I find in the Bible. And I thought to myself, well, if I accept Moses on these grounds and I cannot accept the prophet, then there is something else. So I said, why don't I think he is a prophet? And I thought perhaps because he had many wives. And then again, when you look at Solomon or you look at King Abraham, there are a lot of people in the Old Testament that had more wives. Say was he said, well, the books you read about with the anti-Islam arguments are written by non-Muslims. He said if you want to know more about Christianity, you don't read books from atheists, you start reading the books from the Christians. Why do they believe this? What are the arguments so that you have to do the same with Islam? So start reading Islamic books from Islamic teachers, from Islamic scholars, etc., and then you can see if you compare the books on the same topic of people who are Muslim and wrote those and non-Muslims, you can see where they took the wrong turn, where they translated words in the wrong way, sometimes perhaps even not on purpose, but just because they didn't know where things are added, where things left out of it. So, and in the end you see there is this other religion almost created because of all these things. And that's what I did. And that's what I also did with the life of the prophet, because I read a book from Martin Link's The Life of the Prophet based on the earlier source of Muhammad. And it was written, of course, by a convert, and his way of reasoning, his way of telling, his way of writing appealed to me because it's culturally the same thing. How do I approach a certain topic, etc.? And it was the first time that I saw him not so much as a warlord, because that's the picture I had in my mind, but I saw him as a father, and I saw him as a friend and a teacher and so much more. And so, yeah, I saw the person and his character, and I said, well, I can say a lot, but I cannot say that this is not a good man. So, his character persuaded me to read more and to want to know more. What surprised you the most? While in your research, the story about Hind, there was something like a switch, like I had to change, and it was because I thought Hind was the wife of one of the enemies, Abu Sufyan. And in a way he gave money to kill Hamza, the favorite uncle of the Prophet. And that was what happened on the battlefield. He got killed. They even paraded with his ears and cut off his nose and horrible stuff. So the Prophet was deeply sad, of course, of what happened. And years later, he became powerful. He came in power in Mecca. And then there was Hind, and I was reading this book and I thought, okay, now she gets crucified or her head gets cut off or something like that. But he said, well, I cannot look at her right now, but everybody is forgiven. And if you want to stay here and live among the Muslims, it's possible. If you don't want that, you can go. But bloodshedding is over now. And I thought to myself that she was forgiven. If you can forgive someone who kills a relative, especially a favorite uncle of you, even starts parading with parts of his body to show other people that she humiliates you and whatever you stand for, that means of such a great character. It's very special. It's something you don't see. And that's what he did. So I thought to myself, well, it was a really special guy. And when I thought that, I thought, well, I have these arguments for him being a prophet. I see his character. I see the way he treated other people. I see how he treated his enemies. I think he is a prophet. But then I thought to myself, wow, that's horrible, because I already accepted this oneness of God. And now I say he is a prophet. If I say there is only one God and Muhammad is his prophet, that's almost shahada. So I thought to myself, okay, let's close the books. Stop. This is going in the wrong direction. And of course, I wasn't that anti-Islam anymore because of what I read, what I saw and what I experienced. What I tell you now, it sounds a little like a fairy tale, but it really happened in the end. There were all these books at the table, and when I had this feeling of, yeah, okay, this is shahada in a way, I thought, well, I put all the books away and I put the books on the Irish shelf, but there were so many books that a lot of books fell off the shelf, and one of the books that fell off the shelf was the Quran. And when I picked it up, my hand was on page with Surah 22. I had 46 and it says it's not the eyes that are blind, but the hearts. And I thought to myself, that really is my problem because it wasn't the eyes. I really could see what I written down myself. Nobody forced me to write this book. Nobody said you have to write this or that I started writing myself, and I could see it with my own eyes. But I still couldn't accept the fact that I said he is a prophet. There is this one God. I just couldn't. So it wasn't my eyes that were blind, but it was really my heart. I couldn't accept it. I think my NS or my NEF or whatever, my ego, I couldn't accept it. And I said, well, God, I don't care if it's the God from the Bible or the Quran, give me a sign or something, so that I 100% sure know this is the way, and I went to bed. But when I woke up I felt very secure in myself. I really felt very secure. I've never been more secure about anything else. The whole anxiety or the whole doubting issue disappeared like snow for the sun. I thought to myself, well, I think I'm a Muslim.